Hey guys, what it is, what it does, and what it do. Dre Godden's back with another Pokemon TCG online deck profile. And today we are going to be showcasing the Mega Latios EX from the Roaring Skies set. Yes, the Mega Latios EX didn't see much competitive play, but I feel like with a couple cards from the newer sets, the Sonic Ace attack is actually going to be a lot more viable. And I'll show you why. It is a 220 Mega Pokemon, so that's decent. There are some smaller ones. There are some bigger ones. Those are typically the primal guys. So 220 is actually very respectable. And he has free retreat because he is a speedster. So free retreat is actually very helpful. But the Sonic Ace attack for 1 water, 1 psychic, and 1 colorless energy. You can do 120 damage, but you discard 2 energies attached to this Pokemon. Now, the 120 damage can be done to anywhere on the field, so you can hit their benched Pokemon, so you can snipe Shamans, which is very, very helpful, and that's actually going to be one of the main strategies we're going to be looking to take advantage of. But since there's that discard 2 energy kind of price to do the attack, it's been really, really hard to keep this guy all that viable. But with the addition of a card like Puzzle of Time, we're going to see that penalty is not that bad anymore. If you play 2 puzzle times at the same time, you can put 2 cards from your discard pile into your hand. So what that means is you do the Sonic Ace attack, you discard your Double Dragon energy for your 2 energies, but you can grab those back. Because before you'd basically be able to attack twice, maybe 3 times if you're lucky, but sometimes these get discarded with Sycamores and other things, so it wasn't a consistent enough deck to be constantly sniping things. But now with the Puzzle of Time we can do that. I'll show you the basic EX as well. It's 170 Dragon. We have the fast rate attack for 40 damage for 1 psychic. You can attack on your first turn if you go first. Which is actually pretty cool, but we aren't going to really be utilizing this that much. I mean, we'll do the attack and we can do damage, but you would really need like a muscle band attached to make it actually all that important. There's a lot more 60 HP basics than there are 40, but you know, it's just cool to note that you can attack on your first turn going first. But we have a 3/3 line of the Mega Latios, then we have 2 of the Shaman EX. That's just for some draw and consistency. And we have 1 Hoopa. So this is a card that wasn't around, at least when Roaring Skies was available. So Hoopa EX, since we run Megas and Shamans, we're going to have a lot of EX Pokemon in our deck, and Hoopa makes everything come out a lot faster. 1 Ultra Ball can be your basic, your Mega, and a Shaman, and then you're really kind of in like kind of the front seat of getting your setup. Next up we have is the Crobat line, and we are running the 4-3-2 version of this. Not all that heavy of a bat line. The bats are really there just to get that extra damage when we want to kill an EX that's not Shaman. That's why we aren't running like a 4-4-3 line or something of that nature. Yeah, because, you know, for the math, 120 is not going to kill most Pokemon EXs. So if you could do 30 damage here, 20 damage there, that can really go a long way. And that's why you see a sort of a lighter line of the Crobats. And also it's good to have basics that aren't just a lot to you, so you don't have too many mulligans. For the item cards, we have 2 level balls, so we can make sure we get those bat lines out when we need them. We have 2 Mega Turbo. You can discard basic energies when you do the Sonic Ace attack, so the Mega Turbos can help you get those back. Or it could turn in like a 1 turn, say you do a Double Dragon energy drop and then you Mega Turbo. That could be a 1 turn to get another kill. So if they knock out one of your Pokemon, Mega Turbo could be a way to like answer back all in the same turn. So that's pretty strong. We are running 4 Puzzle of Time. This is the main MVP, the main card that like makes this deck worth revisiting. And if you play 2 cards, you can put 2 cards from your discard pile into your hand. So that'll typically be Double Dragon energies. Also, you can do other things like, you know, if it's early game and you need to get something like an Ultra Ball back, maybe a Sycamore. Obviously it's tactical, but it's really in there so you can get back those Double Dragon energies, and it really helps the Mega Latios. Next up, we have one target whistle. This is a nice tech card for decks that snipe. What you do is you put a basic Pokemon from your opponent's discard pile onto his or her bench. So what you can be targeting with the target whistle is Shaymins. Say you kill a Shaymin EX for 2 prizes, you could target whistle the Shaymin on your next turn and then do another 120 to the bench and kill it again. And that's very, very disrupting for your opponent. It's hard to read that target whistle coming at, and when it does, it can really change the prize race. So it's a really nice tech in this deck. Now for some of the consistency cards, we have 3 Trainer's Mail, 4 Ultra Ball, and 4 VS Seeker. So kind of standard. We have 1 AZ. Now the AZ is going to be really the only way that we can pick up our bat line. We don't run any super scoop ups. So the AZ is definitely there for that. Also, obviously, it could pick up Shaymins and Hoopas if we want to get them like out of the way of being targets for things. But his real role is really to pick up Crobats and stuff. And if we use a Versus Seeker to use it again, then maybe we could pick up bats more than once. But as I said, the bats are there just for a little support. It's not really there to put large amounts of damage onto the board. Now we have 1 Lysander. Since this deck can attack the bench, Lysander's not as needed as it is in most other decks. But we have it here so we can do things like a Lysander stall. Like if we just need a couple more turns to set up, we can Lysander out something that gets stuck in the active and then just snipe the bench and frustrate our opponent. Now we have 4 Professor Sycamore, very standard. And up we have Skyla. Now we're running 2 Skyla. Wanted to show a little love to both rarities there. And I really, really like Skyla in decks that run Puzzle of Time, because oftentimes you're stuck with 1 Puzzle of Time in your hand and you are looking for another one, but you don't want to Sycamore your hand away because then you would lose that Puzzle of Time that's already in your hand. So what we can do with the Skyla is we can Skyla 4 Puzzle of Time, so you really only need 1 Puzzle of Time in your hand and a supporter or a Versus Seeker to grab the other one, and then you can have 2 Puzzle of Time and then grab things from the discard pile. So Skyla is awesome in that respects. We are running 1 Parallel City. We're only running the 1. There's not really many stadiums that really support dragon types, so we're deciding just to go with the 1 stadium, and we're choosing Parallel City because we can get rid of our Shaymins and Hoopas, so they're no longer targets. So I always feel like that's pretty good. And then if we can make like Vespa Queens and Seismitoads do less damage, then that's going to be helpful as well. After that, we have 2 Floatstone just to help retreat our support Pokemon. 3 Latios Spirit Links for our 3/3 Mega Latios line. And then for our energy, we have 4 Double Dragon, 3 Psychic, and a Partridge in a Pear Tree. 1 Water energy. You only need 1. Like, you actually probably don't even really need the 1 Water. I just like to have the flexibility. But you definitely want to have more Psychic than you want to have Water, because you can do the fast rate attack with the Psychic energies. So that's the reason why you see 3 there instead of it being like a mixture, more balanced. So yeah, that is the deck in all of its glory. Let's go ahead and see if we can get a match with this Latios deck. And yeah, I'm liking it a lot. The ability to punish our opponents for playing Shaymins is really good, because in the meta, most decks run at least 2 Shaymin, like standard 2, and then things like Night March, you'll often see 3, if not 4. And then Night March doesn't want to be trading 2 prizes per kill, so that's a really good way to kind of level it out. So yeah, we'll see. And then I really like the fact that the Mega Latios has a free retreat. Like, I feel like free retreat on something that's 220 is very, very impressive, and it's an underrated aspect of the card, most definitely. So cool. So we start off with the Latios, and we have a Hoopa, so it's actually a pretty decent start. We are going second, but that's actually pretty good for going second. We'll see if our opponent's playing something like, okay, and our opponent starts off with the Hoopa, so at least we're not starting with the Hoopa. So we shouldn't complain too much. And we see a Professor Birch come out right off the bat, and he flips tails. That's a really rough start for him. Hopefully he has something like an Ultra Ball or a Shaymin, so he can kind of dig himself out of that hole. But that is a pretty tough start for our opponent. We're going to go ahead, I guess we can play just a Psychic Energy, and we'll go ahead and play the Hoopa just so we can thin out our hand a bit. Look at the Latios, the Mega Latios, and I guess another one? Why not? We don't want to have too many cards in our hand for the Shaman, because we're now going to be looking for a, I guess a Spirit Link is probably what we want to be searching. And at this point, I probably should have waited until I played the Shaman. We will go ahead and, I guess, limit our opponent down to 3 cards, because we still need space. We're going to go ahead and play this Puzzle Time just to get more draw. None of these cards really help. Question is, yeah, I guess we'll go ahead and play it like that. And we'll go ahead and draw 3. Didn't really matter either way. I was being kind of an idiot. That's alright. And we'll level ball for the Golbat so we can get our bat line going next turn. And not bad at all. It would be perfect if we had a Spirit Link or a supporter, but I'm not going to harp too much on this hand. We have a way to evolve next turn should we just want to end and be set up for the turn after that. We have a way to kind of get our bats going, and a Floatstone should they Lysander out our Hoopa or our Shaman. So you can see how you can get going pretty quickly. We did all this without a supporter. It really would have helped if we had like a Skyla or something to get that Spirit Link, because then we would be in perfect shape to get the knockout next turn. But you never know. We might draw into a Skyla in the top deck. Wouldn't that be just grand? We'll see what our opponent discards with the Battle Compressor. And we see a Fighting Energy, so it's probably the Mega Mewtwo X, I'm thinking. And we see a pass. Target Whistle's not going to help for us. Let's go ahead. And Golbat, we're going to go ahead and I think we're just going to evolve. I'm not going to use the energy right now in case it gets knocked off. But we're going to take this turn. Our opponent's struggling, so we're going to take this turn to go ahead and Mega Evolve. And then next turn, if he doesn't put a Pokemon down, then we will get the kill. If he does, oh, and there we go. At least we see our opponent get rid of one of the Mewtwo's, and it was the Y, actually. Interesting. But I think I did see a Shaman, and that is definitely what we want to see. So if our opponent's able to start setting up, that's okay, because now we are going to get our first kill, and it's going to be to the Shaman. And we see another Birch come out, and so hopefully we can catch up by getting some cards off the prizes. That'll be very helpful. I'm not sure what that is. And okay, we see the damage exchange. Another Mega, which isn't really helping us right now. And he is in range of our 120 shots, so we'll go ahead and go after this Mewtwo. Go ahead and Sonic Ace, knocking out the Shaman. And there we see that was exactly the strategy that we were talking about in the lead up, and now you see it come in action, and we have a Target Whistle as well. So if our opponent doesn't mess with our hand, we will be able to Target Whistle and use a Double Dragon again. But in truth, actually, since our opponent is limited to 3 bench spaces, if he plays a Pokemon, that's going to actually stop our ability to Target Whistle. So there's something to keep in mind if we're playing this card, but luckily our opponent didn't have anything. This might make our opponent quit. We will see. So here comes out the Target Whistle. We'll grab the Shaman. We will play our Double Dragon, and we will Sonic Ace, knocking out the Shaman. So now all we have to do is hit the Hoopa EX with the Sonic Ace, and we will have the win. Even if his Mega Mewtwo goes off. So yeah, we're looking pretty good right now. And then the music jumps up to that race to the finish tempo. So we'll see another energy come down, so he can hard retreat, and he'll likely go into this Landorus, so he can then start powering up this Mewtwo EX with the Shatter Shot and damage change. And here's the Lysander, so brilliant. It's a good thing we held on to the Floatstone. So we'll be looking for a double dragon energy and or 2 puzzles of time. Opponent does a Shadow Power, which won't do any damage since we have 20 resistance. But now he's getting that set up. But the cool thing for us is that Hoopa is still a target for us. Wow, and this thing actually just worked perfectly. I kind of feel bad for our opponent. Let's go ahead and retreat. Add the double dragon, Sonic Ace, and kill the Hoopa. Yeah, I feel kind of bad. That was... never seen it work that good. He's like, oh shit. Well, hey, I mean, we talked about a strategy that we wanted to employ, and it just so happened that was the first game that we played. You saw no edits, and we were able to employ that strategy perfectly. We didn't even really get to the puzzles of time. Let's go ahead and see the stats. Biggest attack, yep, only 120, very consistent, but we did 450 damage, and Mega Latios. So imagine doing all that, but also having the ability to grab back those double dragon energies. Because then, like, oh, let's look at all those coins we're getting. Yay! Coins. But yeah, I mean, normally in the game, that'd be kind of like stressful getting rid of those double dragon energies. You're like, okay, I have to make them count. I have to make them count. There, we didn't really worry about, because one, we're getting 2 prizes per shot, so it's worth it. And 2, we knew that we were going to be able to get puzzles of time later in the game to get those energies back. So yeah, it's an awesome deck. I'm really liking it. I've been having a lot of success with it, especially with that whole target whistle strategy, and I hope that you guys give it a try and give it a test. If you know of a couple cards that might go better in the deck, please let me know, because I'm really liking this guy. So yeah, feel free to comment in the area below the vid, like and subscribe, and we will see you soon with some more cool Pokemon TCG online deck profiles. Peace.